Okay, so we're 3 minutes past the hour. I think I will go ahead and get us started. I really want to wish you a very warm welcome and warm greeting to all of you participants. And if there are any of you who are young people joining from around the world, a very special welcome to you. Thank you very much all for being with us today. The session you are in right now for this ICTforAg 2024 is e-learning to facilitate agri-food stakeholders' adoption of digital solutions and the role of youth. So it's been organized by the National Cooperative Business Association, which is known as NCBA CLUSA, together also with USAID and Producers Trust. And the objective of this session is to share with you on the Cooperative Business School, share with you the ICTforAg audience as an e-learning platform that targets agri-food stakeholders that is attractive to youth. And the story of the evolution of the Cooperative Business School and where it's going speaks to the great potential for agri-food systems stakeholders to adopt digital technologies in useful ways amid and beyond shocks and stresses like COVID-19, the pandemic. It also speaks, this example of the Cooperative Business School, to the ways in which youth can be catalyzers of these processes of digital transformations and their contributions to agri-food systems transformation. So let me introduce myself. I'm Jane Lowicki-Dzuka. I am the Senior Youth Advisor with the USAID Bureau for Resilience, Environment, and Food Security within our Feed the Future Office of Country Implementation. And it's my pleasure to moderate the session today with a fantastic set of presenters and panelists. So we have a slide that shows us all, and I will introduce the people you'll see on this session today. And first we have Camila Pinheiro, who is the Director for Strengthening Cooperatives and Producer Organizations at NCBA CLUSA. And she'll provide an overview of the Cooperative Business School and demonstrate it. Then we have also Veronica Giraldo, and she is Chief Partnerships Officer with Producers Trust, which is a key Cooperative Business School implementing partner. So she'll speak about the platform in more detail from that experience of being an implementing partner, which is fantastic and fascinating. And we are so pleased also to have Natalie Petrula, the Gender, Youth, and Social Inclusion Specialist with NCBA CLUSA. And she'll also join Veronica in discussing how the Cooperative Business School may bridge gaps in the adoption of digital technologies by stakeholders in agri-food systems, including young people, and the specific roles youth can play in doing so. Thank you so much. So I will add just a few points from my side before turning it over to Camila to talk about the background of the Cooperative Business School and seeing the demo and then talking about the experiences with youth in that. So this is a little recap then of our agenda before I move into those remarks. We'll start off a little bit with this introduction. We'll see the demo. We'll have that presentation on the partner's experience, and then we'll have a conversation moderated again by myself. And we'll have opportunities for question and answer. So throughout these presentations, please feel free to use the Q&A function that you have in the Zoom interface. And we can also try our best to respond to those questions live in writing, but we'll try to bring them up before we get to the end of this session. So as I'm sure you've heard stressed across ICTforAg events this year, and I'm sure previous years as well, if you've been able to get to any of the other ones, USAID has had, and we are updating our digital strategy. And that strategy underscores our deliberate and holistic commitment to improving development and humanitarian assistance outcomes through the use of digital technology, and to strengthen open, inclusive, and secure digital ecosystems. And we also recognize that digital ecosystems are stronger and more sustainable when they work for everyone. And that means investing in improving digital ecosystems in ways that meet the needs of all segments of society, in particular, traditionally underserved groups such as the poor, women, youth, ethnic and religious minorities, and people with disabilities. And likewise, the US government's global food security strategy highlights that digital strategies, including digitally enabled infrastructure, hardware, and software, have demonstrated the potential to redefine economic growth models, empower poor people with new communications tools, facilitate more productive interactions, and financial transactions across agricultural market systems, and promote dietary diversity and nutrition-sensitive agricultural practices. So we have high hopes for digital technologies that are transformative. And so, for example, we have seen digitally enabled business models can have lower transaction costs and higher potential for scale, and they have been creating new channels to reach vulnerable populations, including women and youth, who may not have the same networks or priority to access these services. And with the very young population structures that many of the countries and communities we partner with around the world have, youth access to and ability to shape the use of digital technologies is critical. Digital technologies have the potential to provide youth with pathways to successful livelihoods in agriculture and other markets that are dynamic and changing all the time. So in addition, young people who grow up with an early exposure to digital technology may be well suited to assist less digitally literate community members. Some data points are pointing to greater uptake of digital technology by youth in economically developing countries. And one, as of 2022, says that almost half of young people ages 15 to 24 in the least developed countries were online, which is nearly twice as many as 2019. So this seems to be quite rapid uptake. And this greater uptake among youth means that the workforce will become more connected and tech savvy as the young generation joins its ranks. And this in turn could also improve the development prospects of the countries where the young people are living. And key factors in youth connectivity are certainly infrastructure and affordability, as well as digital literacy and digital skills development, which are closely linked to educational attainment. And we are still seeing that gender divide that continues to disadvantage adolescent girls and young women, however. So it's very important to remember that most youth in many economically developing countries do not complete secondary school yet. And that means they're out of the formal education system, and many, most often young women, are also not in employment, education, or training. And as they attempt to take up opportunities in agriculture and food systems, diverse forms of education products and services are needed to fill that gap. And even formal education systems themselves are needing to transition as technology changes and influences market systems and the world in which we live. So strengthening youth involvement in cooperatives is one important avenue to improving youth access to productive resources more broadly, their market linkages and influence. And this is, again, particularly important for young women who, again, are often still disproportionately marginalized from resources and opportunities. So the Co-op Business School is just a wonderful example of how we can increase accessibility of information on cooperative startup in particular, and all of the resources, services, and opportunities that come along with cooperative participation. And because we're seeing youth doing simple Google searches for inspiration on business startups, we want to make this model more available. So it really provides an interesting example of technology changing amid crisis, how young people are engaging with it and driving that, and opportunities to bridge various gaps, whether it's youth's access to resource in general, gender gaps in digital access within food systems, and also gaps in education, where education systems and, again, products and services need to change dynamically over time. So without further ado, I'd love to turn it over now to Camila for an introduction and demonstration of the Cooperative Business School. Thanks so much, and over to you, Camila.
Thank you, Jane. Thank you for suggesting the idea to have this session as part of ICT4Ag. And thank you to all the organizing team and support team for this big event. We know it's late and it has started very early. So we're happy to have the participants and hope that other people watch the recording. So I want to I want to make sure you are only seeing the slides and not the messages that are coming in, because so I'm going to start this presentation by saying that the National Cooperative Business School, sorry, the National Cooperative Business Association, I had a few messages coming in. The National Cooperative Business Association is known as CLUSA, as Jane said, around the world. And we, as part of the Cooperative Development Program, implement with funding from USAID that we were implementing from 2018 to 2023. We suffer, as many international development organizations, the big shock that the pandemic represented. And the organizations we were working with needed support, no? And they approached us and say, how can you help us adapt to this new situation? And that's how the Cooperative Business School was born, no? It started as Friday webinars over Zoom, and it quickly evolved to a school focusing on marketing because that was the major need then, how to adapt to the new market disruptions, and how to sell online was one of the main needs. And then soon we realized people were interested in other types of topics, and it was expanded to all type, like around, we have like 12 topics now, from governance to social impact, including sustainability. We are having more content now on digitalization. When we learned that the school was actually an AgTech, we were nominated to for an award, like a recognition by the Institute for Inter-American Cooperation on Agriculture, as the training, online training reaching with the largest reach in Latin America. And so it quickly expanded to Guatemala in 2022, and in 2023 to the US. And now we are in the process of expanding to Kenya, and hopefully after that to Madagascar. So we will have more content in English and more content in French and Malagasy. So we thank all our partners, our donors, and who have contributed to making it this possible: USAID, the USDA for the expansion to the US, the Cooperative Development Foundation for trusting from the beginning in this initiative, and of course, all the team that is behind making this possible. And so the main objectives of the school, as I should have said, the school is a non-academic online training, no? And the idea is to help the people who are in these organizations develop the skills as at their own rhythm, but not just on their own. I think that is one of the key differentiators of the Cooperative Business School, that you are online, but you are not on your own. And so the objectives are to strengthen the branding and market position, no, of these organizations with a focus on cooperatives, but not only cooperatives, to energize and inspire members and their communities and key stakeholders. So many of our trainings are not just for cooperative members, are also for other organizations, public, private, who are providing services, no, to these cooperatives and associations. And of course, then we learned that we were actually contributing to reducing the digital gap within cooperatives. And as we incorporate more content around digitalization, we hope to advance more with this objective. And the overall goal is, of course, to improve the livelihoods, no, of the people that are in this organization. While the focus of the school is on Peru, where it started, in Guatemala and in the US, because we start with needs assessments, no? The school has been useful to people in all these countries that you can see listed, mostly in Latin America. So what have we accomplished up to a few days ago? Almost 250 events, no? And we see that these events, people have more time to dedicate an hour, 2 hours than to many hours, days for courses. So we see a much greater participation in these events. And the idea is to help bring this information, this content, this knowledge to people, no, in whatever way is most effective, no? And so while the focus of these events is sharing key information, like timely information that they need. For example, there is a new regulation that they need to know about, something very practical and informative. We also use these events to share key information and knowledge that they need to have. Then we have developed 65 courses. Many of these are repetitions of courses that have been, there is a lot of demand, and Producer Trust is a partner of ours from the beginning, and they know there is a lot of demand for some of their courses, so some of their courses have been repeated in several occasions, but there is new content all the time. And something that, as I mentioned, that is distinctive of the school is that you are not on your own online. You can be, every course, every event creates a WhatsApp group. And so through that WhatsApp group, you can be in communication with the instructor that is in charge of the course, but also with other people who are learning with you. And we know the importance of peer-to-peer learning, no? And there has been, not so much now, but in the past also the instructors were leading a lot of individual tutoring sessions via WhatsApp. And we are lucky to have had the support of over 170 experts who volunteer their time to share their knowledge with the students, because so far the school, we request the students to apply, but most likely students are receiving the scholarship. So it's open access, no? All these courses, events, they just need to go online and register to access. And we even make it very easy for them to access without having registered, no? Because what we want is to reach the most people as possible in the most effective way. And as you see, in a little over 2 years, we have reached over 7,000 people. And initially, as you will see, the majority were youth, and I'll share that data later. But you also see that of the over, like close to 5,000 organizations, only 700 or 800 are cooperative and associations. So we are reaching many other organizations, as I mentioned, private, public organizations, but also small businesses, rurals, and maybe not rural, no? So here, more on the data of the participants, you see that, as I mentioned, this school started under the previous cooperative development program that we implemented from so the last from 2022, and now CDP 6 means the current cooperative development program that we are implementing starting in October. So in only a few months, we see that still there is a lot of demand for the school services, and you can see that initially youth were a big percentage of the participants, and it has relatively declined, but still we can discuss the reasons why, but still that youth participation, no, is high when you compare to the population of youth in these rural areas, which is for a country like Peru, where the school is most used, is 18%. So, and we are having close to 38% of youth participation. So twice the normal youth population. So I just want to share 2 testimonies from students, because you can see the impact of the school when you hear them talking. And apologies, the audio is not very good in this video. The next one is better, and it's very short.
Muy buenas tardes, mi nombre es Anaí Chocucul, tengo 23 años de edad. Somos de la Cooperativa de Producción del Bosque, productos de cocina, juguetes educativas, también lámparas decorativas y recuerdos. Estamos ubicados aquí en Poptumpeta. El curso que recibí es Storytelling, cómo conectar emocionalmente a los clientes. Del curso aprendí que no solamente vender un producto, sino que también para dar a conocer unas historias a los clientes, cómo fue o dónde fue el origen, y también las personas que están involucradas. La gente no sabe que nuestra madera se cosecha respetando los procesos naturales del bosque. Esa historia la podemos contar. Agradecemos a CLUSA por este curso y esperamos seguir capacitándonos. Gracias.
Thank you to our Guatemala team for recording the video with Anaí, and I'm sorry, I don't want you to see that. And here is Gerald Castillo from Peru.
Hola, mi nombre es Casey Gerald Castillo Lizana, encargado de la imagen institucional de la Cooperativa Agraria Cafetalera La Prosperidad de Chirinos. Y bueno, hoy revisando el cronograma de actividades, tocó salir a hacer una entrevista a una socia productora. Llevé todo mi equipo necesario, una cámara digital, un trípode y un dron que lo estaremos utilizando más adelante. Una vez llegados al lugar, saqué todo mi equipo, todas las cámaras, el micrófono, que es esencial para que nuestro video salga de lo mejor. Hice las fotos necesarias, tomé los planos que necesitaba, plano medios y los planos generales, que lo utilizaré para más adelante. Teniendo en cuenta que ya para ir a hacer la entrevista he tenido que planificar todo mediante un cronograma antes mencionado. Y a veces en las entrevistas hay palabras en inglés que el socio productor no puede pronunciar, entonces llevo siempre mis carteles a la mano para que el socio productor pueda leerlo mientras yo hago las tomas, o el plano medio en ese caso. Y el siguiente paso es poder editarlo para que la organización tenga más presencia a nivel mundial. Y gracias a ello nuestra cooperativa va teniendo bastante respaldo. Es así, y dar gracias a NCBA CLUSA por estos cursos que nos están dando, que nos están beneficiando. Ya estamos dando resultados, estamos teniendo un alcance orgánico hasta de 7,000 y más de 2,249 interacciones. Está dando frutos, y a los jóvenes que les gusta estudiar y aprender, os invito a que sean partícipes de esta oportunidad de los cursos de NCBA CLUSA. Y bueno, esperemos seguir trabajando de la mano con la NCBA CLUSA para mostrarnos los resultados. Gracias. Hola, mi nombre es...
So thank you to the Peru team for recording that video also, and I just want to leave you with easy access to the school. And so you can see, I was hoping to do like a demonstration, and I can do that, but I just want to make sure you know that if you go to cbs.coop, you can access the school, and you can see the self-test that we use to motivate the students to learn, because there is something that says you don't know what you do not know. And so that's the start many times to get people motivated to learn more. And you can see the courses that we have available in different modalities, and that maybe I can have more time later to talk about the events and resources that are available. And if you are not a member of a producer organization or a youth that that is interested in the school, if you are a member of an organization that is interested in having more people access the services of the school, please make sure to contact us. You can find more information to become a partner in this URL here, and you can join us in other ways. So I think we should pass the
Thank you so much, Camila. That was fantastic. I loved hearing about the origins of this school, that the initial demand was really out of, yes, thank you for the claps, was really about how to keep businesses moving, but also that it's really filling this need for the digitalization also of co-ops themselves, and that you've had this organic demand, and that the dynamic was really with young people up front, and that there are these transitions and changes. We do want to see a demo, but I agree, let's keep going because our time is limited. We have some flexibility at the end, but let's move on, as you said, and hear also from Veronica at this point about what it was like on the implementation side and things you want to share with us from your experience, Veronica. Over to you.
Thank you, Jane. And first of all, it's been fantastic to be a partner with the Cooperative Business School and what we have done. And then I think this is a perfect way to bring opportunities to other countries and bring different information. And then especially for us, which farmers or producers are our baseline, our heart is very valuable to bring education. If we do not, farmers and producers are just, they're receiving a bunch of information, a lot of tools, but if they don't know how to use them, so we're not doing anything. So that's why for us, and it's key, the education. So thank you, Camila and the Cooperative Business School for inviting us to be partners, and we're very proud of being part of this journey, fantastic journey. So we can go to the next slide, and I'm gonna tell you a little bit of what we have done together. So as Camila said, we have done a very robust job in work in Peru. And it's not only the fantastic job that the co-op is doing, it's not just the co-op and the farmers, they're bringing other partners together from government organization and some other universities. So what we are focusing here is in one of the things is digital skills development. We are teaching different technologies, and actually something as simple as how to use your cell phone to take good pictures, how to, as one of the testimonies, which I love, that's very, very beautiful about storytelling, what's the importance of tell your story in a way, and how to bring this into the digital world. And the use of these technologies and tools, it's key right now on today's world. So it's very important to teach why they need to use this type of technologies and collaboration network. And I think for that, and it's very key to have these WhatsApp groups, and then create this community. That has been fantastic, and that's been a great job that the Cooperative Business School has been doing, because it's not only about teaching, and then if they have these questions after they receive the information, I think that's a big plus that it's happening there, and then just sharing that knowledge within the communities. It's great. So we have done 33 courses together in 2023. So we had 1,825 participants for that. In 2024, we have done 17 courses, and we had 403 participants. And then the good thing is about what's been going on and what we have been progressing with the Cooperative Business School is for the US audience. It's better to have the online courses. So right now we already created 8 online videos, and that's something very interesting on how we are educating the people in Latin America, how we are educating people in the US, and how are we going to do it in Africa. So that's something that the co-op is bringing as well, that I think it's fantastic. There's some samples of the seminars and webinars that we have done together. We are also bringing some of experts in cacao, and also on how to empower the cooperative in this digital age. I think it's important to teach that, and youth, especially youth, they really understand it and got it. So I'm going to show you an example of what we did together for a cooperative in Peru, which is called Cacao de Aroma. So on your left side, you're going to see the profile that they are creating on our Producers Market platform. So that's something that we're doing, is that we're teaching them about the digital, the importance of having a digital presence. At the same time, we are doing it. It's not just, hey, this is what the importance of it. No, we are doing that. That's why we are teaching on how to tell the story and how to show the pictures. And then on the right side, you will see that we always encourage them to show their faces and tell the story about their producer. So, and then on our platform, we always show that they are participants of the Co-op Business School, which is something, it's an added value for the producers as well. So that's something that it's very tangible for what we're doing together, is teaching and also having our hands on and having a final product per se. So I'm going to show you another tool, which is Storybird. It's a storytelling tool to tell the journey end to end of a product. So we were talking about first the producer on Producers Market. This is a marketing digital tool called Storybird, where it shows what the product has. So the values of the product, again, the importance of having a good picture showing the product. And then, I don't know, Camila, if you can play the video so I can show the interactive map that we are doing with Storybird. So there you will see that's the pictures, and then the type of certifications that the product has. And then here it's an interactive map that shows the journey of the product from the harvesting and all the way till the end consumer. I don't know, the map moves with each step. So that's something that we did together for Cacao de Aroma, and this is fantastic because then people, and especially the final consumer, can understand where the product is coming from in a very nice way. So they can scan the QR code on the product, or they can even embed this Storybird on their website. So that's just an example of what we have done together.
Veronica, that is just fantastic. And I love how you have emphasized, the importance of the story and the storytelling, and how, I think you've said it so clearly that really no one in the world can avoid digital technology these days as a way to communicate across so many boundaries, right? Whether it's an international one or even within communities, to explain how we're all connected and how that relates to business. So I really appreciate your talking about how this has impacted and how you've gone forward, the adoption of digital tech by farmers and farmer organizations. Those are such inspiring examples, and I love to see them myself too. It's so exciting. I want to go onto the platform and see the work if it's posted there. So I want to now keep you on lit up, Veronica, and also bring on Natalie. Thank you both so much for the next part of this. And hopefully, again, we'll get to demo of the system itself in a bit. But we wanted to hone in a bit in some conversation before taking some more questions and answers from those participating as listeners today. Hone in a little bit more on some of the questions surrounding young people. This part is really about looking at the potential, in your view, of the Cooperative Business School to bridge agri-food system stakeholders' adoption of digital technologies and the roles that young people can play. So as adoptees, and also those that are promoting adoption. So how that CBS, the Cooperative Business School, fits in. And so the first question I wanted to ask, and Natalie, maybe I'll turn the mic to you first for this one, is why do you think young people are attracted to online training platforms such as the Cooperative Business Schools? Over to you.
Great. Thank you so much, Jane. And yeah, I'm happy to answer this question. And I'd even like to broaden it to talk a little bit about women and youth, because we really had high participation of women on the platform as well. And I think it really, I mean, there's many reasons why that's the case, but I think in a lot of ways, it sort of can all, in a way, distill down to the fact that the Cooperative Business School was really designed and tailored to meet the needs and interests of women and of youth, and it's really mainstreamed throughout the entire program. And just starting with, the fact that the platform is online, it creates an opportunity for women, for youth to be able to join from their own homes. I mean, we know that women across the Americas, across the world, disproportionately have a burden of having to take care of the household and the children, and just having that flexibility of not having to leave the home and access these types of trainings online is really helpful. And I think that's a very attractive quality of the program. Not to mention the fact that the courses, some of them are synchronous, some of them are asynchronous. So it really provides that flexibility for people to, gain those skills on their own time. Beyond, the platform itself being this great digital tool, a lot of the course content is really tailored to the needs and interests of women and youth. The content, it's very targeted, it's practical, it's useful, it's easy to apply for individuals and participants to apply to their own businesses or organizations. It also provides, skills in spaces beyond the production level. We're reaching a lot of rural communities where, primary, economic activities are linked to production. And there are so many points of engagement for women and youth beyond just the production level of value chains. And using this as an opportunity to gain skills at those different points is also really, I think, one of those points that really has attracted women and youth. Not to mention that, the courses provide certification, and they're through a trusted entity, and having that, piece of paper that kind of says not just that you gain these skills, but that you are certified in these is also a really important point for women and youth who might not have the same access to or limited education opportunities. And then tying in that, that human touch piece, Camilla mentioned in her presentation, these WhatsApp groups that are created to create that peer-to-peer learning, the tutorship that was offered. I know there's also Facebook groups for participants that they can join in, and having that online platform to really engage, I think, is helpful. And one of the things that attracts women and youth. And beyond just the design of the program itself, I mean, the Cooperative Business School has had a lot of targeted outreach to youth. We're working on creating new partnerships with universities to increase that interest from youth. And as an example, we've worked with some public programs such as Innovate in Peru to support entrepreneurship of youth through the Cooperative Business School. So, I mean, I gave a lot of examples there, but I think, like I kind of mentioned, it really boils down to the fact that the Cooperative Business School is really designed to mainstream that gender and social inclusion lens throughout its design and implementation.
Natalie, that is so important. And I so appreciate your underscoring the inextricable links between our conversations about youth and women. A lot of the things that are related to barriers and market systems are same and overlapping, including for young women. And I hear you saying that it's really been targeted at addressing some of those barriers and the ways in which they play out in people's lives specifically. And I love how you frame this notion of connectivity is also not just through digital technology, but that it's really human as well, that it's connecting people on a really human level. Veronica, may I ask you the same question? What do you think? And when we're getting tight on time, so maybe just 2 minutes of your highlights here. But what do you think are some of the highlights and why this is attractive for young people and women?
Yeah, Thank you, Jane. And not to repeat, but what Natalie said, but I think on-demand learning, it's amazing. The remote access that they can have when they're in rural areas, and then they're able to reach that. And I think one of the main things also it's that it's focused on current trends, and young and youth people are always attracted to this type of content, and it's very relevant in today's digital and agricultural landscapes. And also it's a hands-on learning when we can just tell them, go and do this with your cell phone, go. And that's something very also that when they can have this type of practicality in the daily things and seeing the results, I think that's something that really encourage youth. Innovation, and I think the entrepreneurial skills that they can learn, and that's always like people like youth are very curious about this, all of these new trends, and being able to learn more about that. I think it's a huge support for youth. And then also again the network opportunities. I think that's a huge plus for youth and women as well.
Fantastic, Veronica. Thank you so much. Yes, so trying to think that curiosity and also being on trend and really meeting the need then too of this entrepreneurial side of their lives and what they're working on and trying to advance their own businesses and ideas. Thank you very, very much. So the other question here, again, maybe 2 minutes more each for each of you, is what do you think are some key ways that youth can contribute to digital technology uptake by farmer organizations? So, in their roles really as driving uptake. We've seen this uptake that probably had a crowding in effect, and perhaps young people then bringing this tech within their households to others. What do you think are some key roles? And Natalie, we could start with you again.
Sure, happy to. And I'll keep my answer shorter this time. Sometimes I get passionate and kind of go on for a while. But yes, I definitely think youth, contribute significantly to digital technology uptake within farmers organizations and cooperatives. And I think to your point, this we really found through our anecdotal evidence, we saw, technically a decrease in youth engagement over the years, but that was really more so because youth were the first ones to really engage in the platform. And because they had those digital skills, were more digitally inclined, were able to bring other members of their household and their community to the Cooperative Business School to access courses and skills. So I definitely think, youth can kind of be this entry point for bridging that gap and bringing digital technology and skills to farmers organizations. And I think it can be a really huge asset. I mean, youth bring innovation, they bring new ideas, and they can also bring this technology and new skills to these organizations to help them, create more efficient and effective systems for, their organizational structure.
Thank you so much, Natalie. And Veronica?
Yeah, I love that, Natalie. And I think also that youth teach older farmers. So they bring that information, and then they teach how to use them. And the problem solving as well for young people can bring fresh perspective. So that's also something that I see how these youth can contribute to the digital technology and bring into the farmer organizations. And they can also be digital ambassadors. And then, because just to let's say from our perspective in our the way we use, let's say, this type of technologies, when they go and we saw it on the testimony, how they get so excited about how to tell their story in a different way. So that's when I say, like, hey, they're the perfect ambassadors, and to be able to spread the word on their communities and to other farm organizations.
Thank you so much. So I don't see any questions that have come in yet. So I've just sent another prompt. If anybody would like to also ask a question, I could ask a follow-up at this point before turning to some demo. Oh, here's one right here, which is on your work with universities. Do you work with African universities and colleges of agriculture? Thank you, Arinze.
Hi, And thank you for your question. We are in the process of expanding to Kenya, no? And so by that, by doing that, as it has been the case with Peru and Guatemala, we hope that also some of the content is relevant to other people in other countries in Africa, especially English-speaking countries. And so in Kenya, one of our partners is gonna be the Cooperative University of Kenya, their extension program, yes. And this is gonna start in August. So we haven't started, but we already have 5 partners in Kenya who are very interested in starting the school there, yes.
Fantastic, that's exciting. You know, I was thinking too of another question. We've talked a little bit about youth and women and the overlap that women are youth and youth are women and overlap in their issues, but youth are also very heterogeneous in many other ways. And I'm wondering about who's left out and the frontiers of getting more young people involved and what ideas you might have moving forward. If you've had some experiences of those maybe who are the early adopters and who could be joining and having specific demand for specific learning opportunities in the school. And if you have some ideas for moving forward to get others involved. Over.
I can take that. Oh, Camilla, go ahead.
No, I was hoping you would.
Okay, yeah, I'm happy to
for it,
take that
Natalie.
question. Yes, I really appreciate your question talking about youth as not this homogeneous group, but actually, a very diverse group of individuals. And I think really the approach that the Cooperative Business School has taken is gathering that feedback and really working to find content that is meeting the needs of the youth that are participating. So, we're in the process even now of developing, I think Camilla mentioned this new content in different areas, and a lot of that has been sourced from the students that are participating in the program to make sure that we are really addressing and meeting the needs of those youth. So some of those examples and things that we are kind of in the process of developing and working on are around entrepreneurship, looking at e-commerce, fintechs and ag techs as well. So kind of looking at how to create business plans and how to use digital software and using creating access to finance. So a lot of new courses are kind of under development now, and a lot of that has been sourced from, the individual students that are participants in the program. I don't know, Camilla, you have anything you'd like to add to that?
Thank you so much, Natalie. And I notice I see some action in the chat, and Camilla, you're already answering the questions. A couple of questions came in about who can partner with CBS. So can a university partner, can a private organization partner? And I see, Camilla, you started to respond. Did you want to add anything about how partnerships can be formed?
Yes, maybe it's time to demonstrate a little bit, and I'm sorry I have
Perfect, that's great.
many pages open, but if you go to that link that I shared, the first one, become a partner, you can see what we why would you partner with us? Right now we are in the process. Actually, we see it here in what is the Cooperative Business School. You can see the partners we have in About Us, but we have international partners and domestic partners, no? And depending on what type of partner you are, it might be for different reasons, no? But to answer the question straight, who can partner with us? Public entities, cooperative organizations, educational institutions, financial institutions, social impact business, NGOs, private. So yeah, private sector can partner with us as long as they are, as part of their objectives is to support the people, no, in these organizations who need training. And these are the different contributions that organization can do to the school to expand the audience, to increase the offer in terms of the courses, the events, the resources, to make sure that the quality, for example, one of the partners we have is the International Cooperative Business Education Consortium, to make sure that the content is the most up-to-date, relevant, and adequate, no? So that we are conveying correct information, no, about cooperatives and the topics that are discussed. And also to share resources. So you might not be on education, but you might have a digital tool that is very useful, and it can be placed under the resources. And yeah, there are these very simple steps to become a partner, and you can contact, if you're an organization, no, you can contact there. If you are an individual, you can come here to sorry, about us. And I believe it was here. I shared the link. Is the contact link pretty much, no? If you are in, and here are partners. Our partners in Guatemala, Peru, and global partners like Producer Trust, and the consortium on cooperative education that I mentioned, no? So this is a university. This is a public entity. Public entities. University. This is how you say, ethical marketing store. So all kinds of partners. And down here there is a contact link. No, if you are not an organization, if you are interested in being an instructor or in like working with the school in any other way, you can contact here in these contact links. So I'll stop because I know we have little time.
Mila, I love this, the way that the platform just seems to also be becoming a nexus for connection to those who have something to offer in, you know, amid such a diverse set of contexts potentially. And I'm wondering too, is there anything else while we were on the demo part that you might want to highlight while the screens were up?
Share my screen again. Maybe I will. I hope you can see when I change from one tab to another, but you can see like some of the courses that we have, no? And as Natalie briefly mentioned, and also Veronica mentioned, we started with these synchronic courses because people in Latin America are most are more interested in courses that are happening live, no? To be live with the instructor, with others. And so then when we shifted to the US audience, we realized that in the US, people prefer to do it outside of business hours, no? Even if at the beginning, some of our courses were also in Peru and Guatemala can be like at 6 p.m. or something, but in the US, people prefer to do it asynchronically, so at their own leisure. And so we are now implementing a new modality, which is, we call it asynchronic with a human touch or asynchronic with instructor support. And we are starting our first course in Guatemala, testing this new model, which is a course that is open for a period of time. And during that period of time, you can complete the modules, the session at your own time, your own timing, but you also have the ability to contact the instructor for any questions, and you have the group chat for interactions during that time. So here you can see the different topics, the languages, and I'll stop so you can have other questions.
This is really fantastic. Thank you so much for showing that. I know we're in our last sort of 4 minutes here. Some questions may come in. We could stay longer to answer them in the chat and live for anybody who might want to stay past the hour. I want to say thank you so much to all of you at NCBA CLUSA and Producers Trust, your incredible partners with the Cooperative Development Program and working with young people and agri-food systems and women around the world. And thank you for your leadership and co-organizing this session. For me, one of the things that keeps resonating across all of this story of how this this school came to be is about this issue of kind of matching supply and demand in a specific context, because a lot of, we've been talking about this, I'm sure, across many ICT4Ag sessions here, but, there is a lot of supply of ideas, in digital development, et cetera. But how does it get to those who need it when they need it? And how is it used? And in this case, it's something that has really developed from that demand and a set of needs, kind of bringing that together. And then again, evolving across settings. And I loved how you said that the way some of the users prefer to learn is different in different places, that will reflect different circumstances, right? And that's really, really important to understand how that works. And then also the ease of access just through the Google searches that we see that has made this of interest to young people among the many reasons, also women among the many reasons cited. So I wondered, to close, if I could ask each of you in just a minute to offer a parting message, from our themes today of the importance of learning from the experience of the Cooperative Business School, the roles of young people and women in driving it forward, driving solutions through cooperatives, also with the use of digital technologies in agri-food systems. So Camila, I'm going to go over to you first.
Yes, I just want to take less than a few seconds to thank the entire team that is behind this work, some of whom are present. So thank you, Kennedy, Andrea, Manuel. Thank you, everyone that I'm not mentioning who has made this possible. And thank you to our partners like producer Trust and Veronica for the trust on the school and joining forces so that we can fill that gap that in reality, like many, I think few organizations are addressing, which is, as Veronica was explaining, there are all these tools, all these opportunities, but if people are not prepared to make use of them, they are not really there. So we hope we manage to fill this gap in an effective way. And yeah, we look forward to the future.
Thank you. Over to you, Veronica. Any parting message?
Yeah, the message I think here is to use it. Actually, is to invite everybody to join, to, like, we are private sector, to one of the questions. We are a private sector company, and it's been fantastic. It's a fantastic journey. And then just to really see the impact and what we're doing together, it's great and it's awesome. So my message is just to really join the Co-op Business School, to be able to spread what we're doing and to educate our producers. And something that it's fantastic that they're doing is that this multilingual content. So we are reaching, it's a global organization and a global initiative. So that's my message here. Let's educate everybody.
All right, everybody. So take that link. It's in there, and get on there and start spreading it around. We appreciate that so much. And Natalie, a final word from you.
Yes, I'll keep it very short and sweet, but I think my takeaway is to not underestimate youth and the role they can really play in the uptake of digital technology. And I think that this case of the Cooperative Business School is a perfect example of that. But thank you all so much, both panelists and participants, for joining.
And spoken with true conviction as a young person too. And we so appreciate that, Natalie. That is a really central portion. Thank you so much to the ICT4Ag organizers, to all of the panelists, Natalie, Veronica, Camila. It's really been a wonderful session. And thank you all the participants who joined in today as well for your willingness to be here. And we'd love to hear your feedback on the platform as well. Feel free to stay on and ask any questions if you'd like to. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.